Okay, welcome guys. If you would just introduce yourselves, if you go first, what you do, your name, and something interesting about yourself.
So I'm Rhiannon. I'm a mother of 3.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. That is a lot as well. We talk about that,
Yeah.
how much that is. I'm a physio. Been an MSK physio for probably about 10 years. And now I'm in the world of pelvic health, which I love. And I just love being able to help women and support women through this journey. Interesting thing, I'm Australian.
I can tell. Do you know what? I will say though, I didn't know that.
Do you know what? I've spent a lot of time with people from that. Yeah, it's really soft now because I've been here for a number of years.
No. I honestly didn't know. I was when you were talking then, I was like, she's got a bit of a twang there.
Yeah. And I ran the Olympic torch for Sydney 2000.
Did you?
I did indeed, and it's
I
in my
didn't
lounge
know
room.
that.
It's in my lounge room, sat there. It's got a dint in it now because it fell over once.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's
That's a little.
You got to beat that now.
Oh, goodness.
You introduce yourself.
So I am Shakira. I am also a physiotherapist. I started out in MSK, so musculoskeletal and sport, and then I've ventured into pelvic health probably from around 2016, 2017. My interesting fact is that I am founder. Ooh, I still get really
it's horrible,
cringy.
isn't it? I was if you didn't say it, I was going to tell you to, so that's good.
Of a little studio in Cardiff called Core Cardiff, and we promote kind of like movement and strength, and we also do pelvic health, and so it's a reformer Pilates studio, but we also do physio on the side.
And mummy MOTs and
And mummy MOTs,
which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
So just for context, I met these guys, through you really. So I met Shakira, we hired rooms together.
We were passing.
Yeah, I remember coming in to do a tongue tie.
Yeah.
And then she saved my pelvic floor because I decided to have a mummy MOT 18 years post-birth.
It's never too late.
It isn't,
No,
and I know
never too
that
late.
now actually. So that's how we met, and then I met you through us doing a workshop together on pregnancy,
Fourth trimester mainly,
stuff.
wasn't it?
On pelvic health.
Yeah.
So first question, why did you flip into women's physio? Was it
We
birth?
both had the same journey, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, birth.
Really?
Yeah,
And for
so-
you?
Mine was because I ended up having a late 20s, early 30s like life crisis, and thought I don't want to do physio anymore. So I ended up working in a Pilates studio, and it was mostly predominantly women, and they were all either postpartum, pregnant, or perimenopausal, and I was just like, wow,
What a world.
Yeah, what a world. And so I started to do my courses and and then started working with this kind of population, and I was just like, do you know what, women are amazing. Don't get me wrong, men are great, but women are amazing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I was just like mind blown. And then the passion just started from there, really.
And what about for you?
So my oldest is 10. I was a physio at the time, but we had done, I think, maybe one lecture in uni on women's health. I was clueless. I had no idea. I did, the antenatal classes. I thought I was prepared.
Yeah.
I was not.
Yeah.
It wasn't the smoothest of births. I ended up with long pushing forceps, episiotomy, and not a great recovery. You get the inhale there because of what I know now. Yeah, exactly. What I know now.
You would be reacting the same.
Absolutely. And I would have done things very differently. And so, if they, off the back of that, I had some pelvic floor dysfunction, developed some sort of fecal incontinence, and I just thought, this, it opened my eyes to what we experience through that phase. And I just thought, I want to be able to help women. I want to
get more prepared.
Yeah, be prepared, have that education.
Yeah. And it's even
Get that
to prepare
understanding.
and help yourself, really,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
When so midwifery,
Yeah.
I can tell you, I think we did one. It's not even a year. It was literally one part of year 2 or 3 on pelvic health, and it was majority of it was obviously they talked about the muscles and things, but you know, I thought I don't need to know about that.
Yeah.
Because you know they come to me, they have their babies, and then off they fuck.
Yeah.
Give them a shitty sheet of paper on how to do pelvic floor exercises. Actually, we were told to tell them to wait before doing it as well, which now I'm like mind blown. And download the Squeezy app; it's free. That was
which is not anymore.
Which is not anymore. Is it? It's not anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So same, you're not really taught, and I loved what you said about like women. You know, women are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Greg, who come on to talk about fertility, funny, like the reel was basically saying, I can't believe you're talking about fannies, and he hates talking about them. Absolutely obsessed with women's physiology now. That's the kind of road he wants to go down, because he's just like, you're just so complex and have the ability to do so much more.
Do so much.
Yes.
And it takes so much longer for us to recover than a man. For different circumstances. So I knew nothing about the pelvic floor. And when I come to see you, because I had a 4th degree tear after my first, but you know, fine after the other 2. When I come to see you, I genuinely thought you were going to tell me to have surgery, didn't I? Was like, I'm going to need surgery. You know, she's 18, I've left it too late. And I was really pleased, obviously, that I didn't.
Because everybody always thinks that if I leak, I must be weak.
Yes.
And therefore I need, you know, to do more squeezes, or
And
like
for
I need
me,
surgery.
it wasn't.
And it's not always the case.
I
we are
needed
so
to relax.
complex. Exactly. And I think, you know, I think, one, the education around pelvic floor is really, really poor.
Rubbish.
But then also the implementation, like how do you do a pelvic floor squeeze?
I was doing it completely wrong.
Exactly.
You're doing one right now.
Yeah. Me too now. We'll do it in.
And you know, like I think we've kind of been let down a little.
Yeah, massively.
As females.
Yeah.
Because we get to a point where we've got problems, and then some of us just shut up and get on with it.
More than some.
In
think
I
silence.
think
a lot. I think
the majority.
Yeah.
I think there's a minority of women.
Yeah.
And it is, and then because I've got more info on it, like in my work as an independent midwife, oh my God, it's all I talk about. It's the minute I meet them, it's like, you know, you need to go and see a pelvic health specialist or a chiropractor, or just do something and learn about it. Say I've got young daughters too, and a daughter-in-law, 25, 22 and 18. They're a bit more clued up on it now because of me and things. What would you tell women of that age who haven't started their, you know, families or anything yet? My girls don't do any pelvic floor stuff.
Become familiar. Just learn your anatomy.
Get hands on.
Get hands on. Learn.
hands-on.
You know, understand.
What, get internal? Be comfortable
Or
getting
just,
internal.
just absolutely.
Know what's your normal. And know what's not your normal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And come and see a pelvic health specialist, even if you don't have any symptoms. I think it's helpful, even before you have kids.
18?
Yeah.
Is it ever too early to like? Because they don't teach you fuck all in school.
No, they don't. And I think that's where it comes. It may not be sort of on a one-on-one, but I think what they need to roll out is to the wider, you know, in the schooling system, sort of in a group settings.
Yeah.
So, you know, that information about even just the anatomy, isn't it?
Yeah, like name it as a vagina.
Not
As a butterfly.
Flower.
Or your external
exactly.
genitals, you know, learning sort of
Yeah.
what the external parts are. So you're understanding and you know,
And
there
understand
are
the signs of needing a wee and needing a poo, and
that's
not
so
ignoring
interesting. Because my 22-year-old, it's really weird. The minute she has a drink, she needs a wee. You taught me this, and I was, and because I drink so much, as you know, less now. I promise. And I say to her, you don't need to wee that much. And she was like, well, we were told. I said, who's we? And well, school then, because it's not me. And then she said, no, you as well, because even from a young age, and we'll talk about that, because I loved what you said at that workshop, even from a young age, just go and have a quick wee.
So just in case.
Just in case wee. So her brain is like, I need a wee. And she probably does have that sensation. But are you meant to hold it for a certain time? Are you meant to like train your brain and like, do you need a wee?
Yeah, so I think it's all about trusting your body, isn't it?
Okay.
Because we are all taught go for a wee before leaving the house, and you know,
because we're worried about the accidents, aren't
we?
As toddlers, but
I mean, a change of clothes, a quick wet wipe, you know, on with our day. You know, if people if toddlers wet themselves, it's not necessarily the end of the world, is it?
Yeah.
But also not shaming them as well, because we have to talk about poo and wee and how normal it is, because everyone goes poo, everyone goes for a poo, everyone goes for a wee, but understanding the signals. And if you are drinking 7 litres, potentially
water,
it's not
wine, water.
You know, just understanding what's normal about weeing, what's normal about pooing, positions, you know, things like that, and what's not normal, and then getting help for that. You know?
Can we go back? So the life of a pelvic floor. So when we were at the workshop, and it was a menopause workshop, and we started talking about potty training. I've talked about this with all my new parents ever since. Can you just touch on that?
So potty training is helpful. But I don't think that we should necessarily be sat there saying, do a wee for me and then you get a sticker. Because it doesn't teach you from a young age to trust your body. We do need to teach children, okay, that sensation there, that means you need to go for a wee-wees. Let's go towards the toilet and go for a wee-wees. And, you know, that sensation there is you need to go for a poo. But I don't think we should be forcing toddlers to do it on demand, because that's not how we do it.
Where did that come into your head? Because it just makes so much sense to me, but that's not out there. Well, genuinely, I can't.
If we as adults, if you're coming to me and saying to me, I need to go for a wee every 20 minutes, okay, for example, that's not a normal bladder habit. And then we go through a bladder diary, and you've got down that every time you leave the house, you go for a wee. Every time you go in the shower, you go for a wee. So you're teaching your bladder and your brain kind of like that every single time you see a toilet, wee. You know, you're teaching yourself these bad bladder habits. And then I've got to now teach you to trust your bladder.
At 49.
At 49.
And to change.
But if we have been taught all of our lives never to trust our bodies and never to trust the signals, then where does this stem from? Is it from childhood? And, you know, and we're meant to be empowering women to listen to their bodies, you know, breasts, you know, any changes, things like that, you know, but yet don't listen to your body when you're
3.
When you're 2 or 3 years old.
I've definitely potty trained my
I was awful.
second one differently to my
Have you?
first.
You have too, haven't you?
Off the back of understanding.
It was hard. It was hard because I was
pressure
like,
from external, and this whole new thing now that they won't accept children in nursery if they are potty trained by 3.
And that shouldn't be a limitation. That shouldn't be a limitation. I've had a few discussions with some health visitors, and you know that shouldn't be a limitation to going to a barrier for children to start nursery. But the thing is that we're all different, aren't we?
Yes.
And that should be celebrated. Like, you know, I don't think we all fit into this box of, you know, you need to be 3 years old and potty trained and dry and all of this stuff. That's not true life, is it?
It's not.
You know?
No, what did you do different then, second time round?
So I have left it till I felt like she was ready, and she was, and it wasn't that this is what society is telling me it has to be done by this certain time. But also what you're talking about is that just talking to her about understanding the signs, what that feeling is, and then just not allowing her to be worried about the process as well, and just saying this is normal. We all do this. That sensation. This is what that means. As you
Let
said,
them watch you.
Watch me.
Yes.
Which is huge.
We talk about sort of letting it slide out.
Yes.
And now she comes to me, Mummy, I let it slide out. And so
you celebrate that then,
absolutely.
obviously.
Yeah.
We
So
were
well
renovating.
done, you. You know, and you know, you've achieved that, and so.
We were renovating our house, and one of the things was we had to take off the toilet door, and I was like, do you know what? I love that. Like, you know, let's not put one back on. My husband was mortified. Doesn't want to see me pooing and weeing, but you know, I was
For
like,
the boys.
great. Yeah, exactly. The boys get to see me. They're in
Yeah.
it. I mean. Every mum knows you're never having a silent wee or poo anyway.
God, no.
So they're
They're
either
out the
banging on the
door.
door or they're in your
Yeah.
face. And I've got many pictures of me sitting on the loo with my kids sat on my lap. Like, you know, I've even got one me breastfeeding whilst like having
multitasking women is what we do.
And then the day that door had to go on because my mum was due to visit, I couldn't put her through that. You know, my husband was seeing my mum go for a wee or a poo. I just thought, that's such a sad thing because actually it's, I think it used to be a social event. So there used to be really big, large public toilets where we would all go and sit next to each other. In the Roman days, you'd go and sit,
like baths and stuff,
like the Roman baths. It used to be like a Roman toilet, and you'd sit there and have a chat, and you know, you'd go poo and wee next to each other.
Why have we become so prudish?
And then exactly, we've like closed it off and made it all, you know, this secret.
Do you think it's cultural? We're not a tight nation anyway,
And I
aren't
think
we?
that's it, isn't it? By not discussing and not being open about it puts some shame onto it, doesn't it,
totally.
as well? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like public toilets, people are worried about pooing in public toilets
Yes,
again
or even
because of that
sitting
shame,
down.
that shame of it,
Yeah.
and that can be detrimental to pelvic floors. If you're holding on to it, if you get that urge and then you hold it until you get home, then actually you've missed that opportunity, haven't you? And so
you're going to get more
constipated.
you know, and enlarged.
My youngest one definitely struggles, but it is because of potty I know it is now. After listening to you, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
How do you get something so major,
Yeah.
which
And even
is wrong?
Yeah.
Well, but because again, the understanding isn't there, and it's societal pressure more than anything, more than understanding of the anatomy and the physiology of it, and an understanding how that works. I think,
And even the position that we should be in.
I know.
Poo.
That's
Like,
life changing,
you know,
isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
the squatty
The
potty.
squatty potty
Yeah,
is
I
life
love it.
changing.
Yeah, it's made such a big difference. I came from a generation of the aim was to be skinny. Never
skinny
to be
fat.
strong.
Yeah.
It was to be skinny. So, you know, I would miss fluids, I would miss certain elements of my diet, and the constipation was so bad.
Follows you into adulthood,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
into adulthood, and I'd
Yeah.
be sat there, you know, trying to pass a bowel motion, sweating in so much pain, so much discomfort, and then I went the other way and then abused laxatives, and you know, and then all I literally had to do was to take away that pressure of I need to be skinny. You know, eat a nice balanced diet, drink, and use a squatty potty. Oh my days, life changing.
There are so many, like my brain's whirling now. And you're like that when you're a business owner, aren't you?
Yes.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you could do a workshop with
Yeah.
this, workshop
Yeah.
with parents
Yeah.
about how not to potty train.
Yeah, I mean, we're not experts.
No,
on that,
you
you don't have to be though.
But,
But that's just simple. That is just literally simple science.
Yeah.
There's so much that you learn in child you do take through, don't you? As you sort of said,
It's bonkers.
You know, but that education isn't out there.
No,
That
it isn't.
understanding
Like,
out
what
there.
can we
And
do
it's
different?
as well.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
a big cultural
podcasts.
difference.
Like, I know
Yeah.
anyone who listens to that will listen to you two talking about that whole potty training thing and be like, oh my God, it's like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Skip forward then. So, and we'll use an avatar. Okay, so a 25-year-old woman thinking, I do want to start a family and I want to get into, you know, ship-shop shape. Me and Greg talked about that, doing that whole preconception thing. Ours is like nutrition and supplements and blood work and stuff. From a physicality point of view, with the pelvic floor and your core and things like that, what, in an ideal world, what would they be doing now to prepare their body?
I think tracking your cycle you know, understanding what your normal is.
Yeah.
So you can be in control of that as well.
Get hands-on with your discharge.
Biggie.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's one of the biggest indicators of how
Of your
well
health.
we are.
Yeah.
Is your discharge.
The vital sign, isn't it? They say
Yeah.
the 6th vital sign is our menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
Indicates.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So obviously, our menstrual cycle is managed or controlled by hormones within our body, and if we are not eating well, if we're sort of in levels of stress and things like that, those hormones will change, and that will influence our menstrual cycle, and so that will have an influence on whether we are ovulating, which will obviously influence, you know,
The ability
the ability to conceive and things, and so as you sort of were talking about this societal pressure to be skinny and everything, that influences many women's menstrual cycle, because we don't have that that energy availability to allow that normal cycle to progress. And so we go into phases of amenorrhea, so we're losing that cycle. Regularity of it, absolutely.
And do you know that hormone disruption?
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know the answer to this question. Does it affect your pelvic floor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, those estrogen levels, if they're dropping, then we're losing sort of the quality of the tissues. We're losing the ability for those muscles to be strong. We're losing lubrication. Influences, infection risks.
You go through like a little mini menopause.
Yeah.
Really?
And even when you breastfeed, you're going through like a little mini menopause and
I
stuff.
can understand that, because the drop in estrogen and then the fluctuations and adrenaline and cortisol with anxiety, with I can
lack
completely,
of sleep
But I see, this is classic, isn't it? Because you worry about all of these things once you've had the baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, you probably could have prepared your body before you even started trying for a baby. So in terms of like exercise and stuff for the pelvic floor to prepare it for pregnancy, I was going to say birth, but like to even prepare it for pregnancy, what's an easy cheap thing that women can kind of do at home that will get their pelvic floor more functioning?
Move.
And therefore just
do
move.
exercise.
Yeah.
Do exercise. Make sure you are lifting weights, but lifting weights in a sensible way. Make sure you're doing your pelvic floor squeezes, but also making sure you're able to relax. That muscle is as important. And just make sure your overall health is wealth. Sleep, diet, fluids,
and breathing.
Breathing,
stress control.
Exercise, the lot really.
Because we know like pregnancy is a big impact on a female body, and so you want to be in the best
optimum health.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am finding that more women are now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Especially since like doing all of this and researching myself.
We're more aware, aren't we?
Yeah, so much more aware.
Which is really positive.
It is great, but I think women are seeking that out themselves, not because they're
it's not education or healthcare professionals providing
it. No.
Yeah.
This is for all its negatives, social media has brought positives to the table.
Yeah.
Because you have that access to it.
Yeah.
You've got to be careful with what you're
digesting.
Exactly, and what you're taking in. And where the source is coming from.
Yeah.
But I think it's something crazy. Like 50% of women get their information
from Dr. Dribble.
Yeah. From
Dr.
Instagram.
Google.
From
Dr. Google when it's a good resource.
Dribble
when it's not.
Yeah. I've not heard that one. That's a new one. I try to avoid it. but that's it. Like, we're getting that information, elsewhere, whereas it should be provided to us in our early years, teenage years.
But yes, and I totally agree. But then there's also an element of would I have taken that information on?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Well,
You know?
I didn't until I was 49.
Yeah.
And I'm a
Yeah.
midwife. I was a
Exactly.
midwife for 18 years.
And I
I'm
don't
just
think,
like,
I think you've got other priorities maybe.
Yeah.
But I think if we normalise talking about bodies
Absolutely.
and seeing real bodies, you know, of different shapes, colours, sizes, the lot, I think then maybe it might be a little bit more relevant to you as a younger age.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so complex, isn't it? But what is really good is that there's way more information and people are starting to talk.
Yeah.
And potentially also, you know, my mum's generation and definitely my nan's generation did not talk about vaginas.
My mum still
No.
won't.
Yeah.
My mum
And
made
I'm-
me...
and I will openly talk
Yes.
about it. I have to. It's part of my
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
cringe.
Yeah, but now, you know, we are having children and
Yeah.
we are openly discussing. So I think
Yeah.
generational changes are happening, which is really
Simple
beneficial.
things about naming the anatomy, the correct
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
know.
know, like you said, like
Flower.
I was trying to
calling it a
think-
penis.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I was trying to think the other day, at what stage should I not get dressed in front of my kids? Like, you know, it's in
Never.
like naked.
When
And I
they
thought,
ask
actually,
you.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
When
you
they
know?
say,
Yeah.
Mummy, I don't want
Yeah.
you to, or they become embarrassed, that's fine,
Yeah.
you can't force it
Yeah.
then.
Yeah, yeah.
It becomes, you know, they're teenage, they get to teenage boys and it's like, should I be seeing my mum's boobs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Probably
from
not.
a trauma point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, you know, you want to normalise that,
Yeah.
don't you?
Absolutely.
Boys are, in general, from, you know, having a 25-year-old, are
Yeah.
way more into like talking about things. Like my son will go and get tampons and everything.
really?
For my daughter's,
Okay,
his daughter-in-law,
amazing.
me when he was 14.
Wow.
It's, yeah, you just would have no issues talking about it. Very, very on board with it,
And that's
actually.
because he's had a mum like you.
I
That's
Yeah.
I do
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they talk to their friends like it, because that would be the next step, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What so now a lady's pregnant, she comes to your studio and she's like, Kat sent me.
Yeah.
And I want to
Thanks, Kat.
get in
Yeah.
tip-top shape. But I know, and this is a thing, there's no point in me having my pelvic floor checked because I'm already pregnant. I may as well wait till after birth.
Not
Bullshit.
bullshit.
Yes,
Yeah.
I say
absolutely.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that, you know, being pregnant, there's a risk factor of developing symptoms
Yes.
and developing dysfunction, but it's also, again, understanding and being prepared for postnatal
Yes.
in that prenatal stage.
Because
So-
it may not be the C-section or it may not be the vaginal delivery
Yeah.
that causes any pelvic floor dysfunction.
Just being
it
pregnant.
may just be being pregnant.
Just being
That's
pregnant.
not out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Or it could have been before even getting pregnant, constipation, for example.
Which worsens through,
Yes.
often worsens through
Yeah.
pregnancy,
Exactly.
doesn't
So
it?
there's-
Yeah.
There's loads of things. Yeah, there's loads of things that could have been an element to then, when you're postnatal, then everything kind of rears its ugly head, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, what's happened to me?
Yeah.
So there's loads of things that can be done
Yeah.
before you even get pregnant,
Would-
and then when you're pregnant.
When you're pregnant,
loads.
would you advise having an internal assessment?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as
As
you're not in the
it's
first
consented.
trimester.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as
Yeah.
you're not in the first trimester, I would say.
And there's
it's
no
hugely
contraindications. There are
beneficial.
some
Yes.
certain situations
Yes.
when we can't do an internal, but majority of women can.
And if
So you have to think though that in other countries, women go to gynecologists, for
Yes.
example,
Yeah.
very frequently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
In this country, we don't tend to.
Yeah.
We only go to.
Trauma.
We get
If there's-
referred to a
if there's
gynecologist
issues.
if there's an issue.
if there's trauma,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, you would go and get a massage, for example, if you feel any tension,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you know, or if you want a nice little spa day, nice little treatment. You know,
that
you
lasts
might-
an hour. It's not a lifelong thing.
No.
I mean, even that hour would be lovely.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't it? You know, or if you have a knee complaint, you'd go and see someone for it.
Yeah.
So why aren't we looking after our pelvic floors
I know.
in that
Yeah.
way? You know, when we use our pelvic floor constantly throughout the day, you
It's
know,
there.
exactly.
there.
So why
It's
wouldn't
holding
we
our
get it
organs
looked? Why wouldn't we get it looked
Supporting
after?
us.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we get a nice little checkup?
Do you
Yeah.
know, because obviously continuity is my buzzword,
Yeah.
so seeing the same practitioner, because, I mean, none of this is available on the NHS, is it? So,
It's well, if you have symptoms,
yeah.
There's
you
an
can
inhaler.
get a referral.
But
And
if you
in
just
some
wanted
places-
to check because you
No.
want to be in your
No.
That's not
optimum
available.
health,
No.
So again, if
No.
you've got problems. If
you can self-refer.
experience. Yeah.
And the NHS is an amazing service, and at the moment, even myself, I'm trying to do a little bit more talks for women from more of an ethnic diverse background, because we are very much underrepresented in the NHS, but also in private practice. And I think the more that we go out there, and this podcast, for example, and we are discussing it and spreading
this is free information.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hopefully, women can take something from it. But I would say, yes, you can't just go to have a checkup
Do you
on
think,
the NHS unless you have a problem.
I'm interested in what you're both going to say. Do you think that's how it should be?
Yes.
I do too. Yay!
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's hard to come to that place.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I've got goose pimples. That's so stupid. I genuinely feel that we do have to take some responsibility for our own health.
Absolutely.
And if it's not available on the NHS, sod's law.
It's really difficult though, because we have to remember that lots of women come from completely different backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And there's
we're very
so
privileged,
many
aren't we?
barriers.
We talk about this all the time.
Very,
We're very
very
privileged.
Yeah,
and
very
there's
aware of
so
that.
many barriers. And so that's why I quite like to do the reach out services and
give
the
it back.
talks and stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't get to where I am without the help of other previous women, I would say, that helped me along my way. So I think because I recognise I'm in a very privileged position, as do you girls, we do things like this to try and give it back.
Of course.
And it would be amazing for everything to be free. But it's just not.
But then
and that's
breaks
probably
my
my biggest tug backwards and forwards of being a private practitioner. Is I wish people didn't have to pay, but I've also got to pay a mortgage.
Exactly.
I've also got to pay my bills.
But it is money well spent. I keep coming back to that.
I think it's invaluable, isn't it?
It so is. It's an uncomfortable. God, when I left the NHS and went independent. That battle of women shouldn't be paying for this, but there's so much more buck for your money if they do, and they shouldn't be paying, and it's back.
I'm going to be
not saying that the NHS physios don't go above and beyond. So not saying that the NHS physios don't go above and beyond, but I think that we do go above and beyond in private practice because maybe we've got a bit more time.
But also we're aware they're paying.
Yeah.
And it's that mentality. Would you go to the gym if it was free? Fuck no.
Yeah.
If I'm paying a subscription, I'm making
even
sure
if
I
it's
use
cheap,
it.
But even if it's cheap, then I think to myself, that's all right.
it's
£10, it's one coffee. I'm not gonna,
like that.
Whereas actually, if you think to yourself, if you second guess and go, that is expensive, you are going to make sure you do it.
But it's worth it, and we know our worth in that as well. We know what we can provide, and so that's why.
Yeah, know your worth. That's my new mantra.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were you going to be controversial about?
Well, when it comes to sort of paying for services, out there, people are more than happy to pay for their Botox.
Oh, yeah.
More than happy to pay to go to see a chiropractor every couple of weeks.
Yes.
And they have their place, they have their value in life.
Yeah, they make you feel good.
Exactly.
And look good, a bit of Botox.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think also if you're having problems and you want input, I think you've got to put that value on improving your health in that and sorting those.
I totally agree. And flipping it on the other side, if people who can afford it spent more money on private healthcare, then the service would be able to offer.
But I would probably say that most people who could afford it do pay.
I find that
lot
now.
on private.
Now that's changing.
And
it is changing.
It hasn't always
dentistry.
It hasn't always
exactly.
been that way though.
No.
So the health system in Australia is slightly different.
Okay.
So it's not.
Is it means tested?
It is means tested.
Okay.
So we've got the state system, but for a certain income, you then have to pay for your own private health cover, which gives you access to physio, gives you access to dentistry and all of that. And so, don't get me wrong, the system at home has its problems, around the world, and it is, still under pressure. But people who can afford it are paying for that private health cover, and so the people that can't quite afford it do have access to a better.
I do. I'm hoping. I don't know if it's going to be, but I just think you know, we're digressing here. This always
Yeah.
happens. So I don't like questions
But health,
anymore.
but politics is health, isn't it?
Of course, it's
And
huge.
women's bodies at the moment.
Yeah.
In politics, you know, politicians think they've got a right to rule over
Oh,
our
yeah.
decisions.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
our women's bodies
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I don't think you can ever discuss women's health without discussing politics.
No, it goes hand in hand.
It does go
Yeah.
hand in hand. And I don't think that the service at the moment is helpful for women, and I don't think it's necessarily the right service which is being delivered, but it's not down to the people that are delivering it. It is actually the people
Absolutely.
that are
Making the
making
decisions.
decisions
Absolutely.
which are causing all of this bullshit.
People on the ground are in there for the right reasons.
Yes,
Yeah,
because
nobody
they want
goes.
to help.
They
Yeah.
do. I
Yeah.
say this all the time.
Yeah.
There's not one person that goes into healthcare
Yeah.
in
Yes.
any capacity that A,
Yeah.
wants to make a bad decision,
Yeah.
B, do a bad job,
Yeah.
or even worse, cause harm.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's environmental.
Yeah.
It's the environment that people are working in. I think the only solution is means tested. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And even with what you guys offer, like you going back to, you know, we all come from different backgrounds. Some women really can't afford it. Means test everything. And those women will get the proper help. I don't know if that's going to happen. We can just hope and be positive.
I also think that the other barriers for the reason why potential women don't access this is shame.
Yeah. I knew you were going to say that.
Because
Generational
culturally,
coming down,
culturally,
Yeah.
generational. I think the fact that potentially, oh my goodness, I'm pooing myself.
Yeah.
I do not want to discuss it with anybody.
Yeah.
Not even my husband,
Yeah.
not even my children. You know, let alone a GP,
Friends
let
or-
alone a stranger. And potentially the way that we also help women in terms of the examinations and stuff like that. I think also that's a massive taboo, isn't it?
Huge.
You're going to put a finger somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's a huge amount of barriers. I don't think it's just financial, but that's a big one. But I think it is shame.
I think shame's bigger
Yeah.
than financial.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it have
Probably.
to come from a minority background to feel that
No,
shame either.
definitely.
I think that's across the
Definitely
board,
not.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
No, top class backgrounds, like
Yeah.
groups.
Yeah. So
You know, back in
Yeah.
the day, so what
Yeah.
we said, your parents just would not talk about
don't talk
Yeah.
about it. No.
vaginas
It's
at
a very
all.
British thing, isn't
It's
it?
such
you
a
know?
British thing.
Yeah,
It drives me wild.
You know, keep ourselves to ourselves.
Yeah.
But then that comes down to culturally, down to our...
Yeah, we have to make it. You can't keep blaming the people that come
Previous,
before
yeah.
us.
Exactly.
We've got
and
to
our
make a
community
change.
and stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know, we're talking here and we mentioned the word vagina. You know,
Yeah.
and I'll mention anus, you
It's
know.
not a bad
because,
word.
No,
like,
it's
yeah, and all of this stuff. So I think potentially things are going to start changing.
Yeah.
I see a change.
Yeah.
I genuinely
Yeah.
do see
Yeah.
a change. Any lady that's had a baby with me at home or whatever, I'm always like encouraging her. I say, you've got to make friends with your vagina again.
Yeah,
You know, it serves you.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get it because I was the same.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you do, because when I discharge you, you don't know what it looks like now
Yeah.
to know if it's healing.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm going to
Yeah.
put a mirror there and I really need you to look at it. Absolutely petrified because they didn't know what it looked like before.
Yeah.
And
And that's what comes back to understanding
Yeah.
your
isn't it?
anatomy.
Anatomy beforehand.
Yeah.
So you know the normal and how it's changed and everything.
Oh my
isn't
God,
it?
friends who are just so ignorant. Like the amount of times that I've been like, oh my God, you must just see so many different vaginas, so many different fannies. And I'm like, I don't even look at them. Like, do you
Yeah.
genuinely think I just sit there and stare at them for
Yeah,
12
yeah.
hours?
Yeah.
It's the least part of my job,
Yeah.
actually. And then
Yeah.
when I do need to look, there's a head. So
Yeah.
I can't tell you if it looks any different
Yeah.
to what
Yeah.
it did before.
See, lots of women will apologise to me. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Before they
Oh,
get on
Well,
the
I
day.
did.
you know, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I
this is
did.
what I
It's
get out
like-
of bed for.
Yeah,
like, this is what I
yeah.
leave my kids for.
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know, I am so intrigued by it,
Yeah.
and this is what I have the passion for. And you know, I don't think anyone should ever feel embarrassed or ever say the words "I am sorry." Like,
Yeah.
I'm privileged that you're trusting
Yeah.
me
It's
to
big.
be able
intimate,
to
isn't
help
it?
you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to-
It
exactly.
really,
Yeah.
it really is.
So, you know, and me and a client were discussing the other day about how, you know, we ask them, take your lower half off, get on the bed, cover yourself up with a towel, and we're about to examine the most private areas, and then they're like, oh, but my underwear, I need to fold and hide away my underwear somewhere, like, you know, and I'm just like, you don't have to do any.
Our brain is so cruel.
Exactly, because we're all this private, shamed, like, you know, can't see my discharge in my underwear.
Maybe
like,
we should all become naturalists and just be, you know.
Well, one of my good friends, she actually has. And
Brilliant.
I just think amazing. You know, she's living off the land, she's barefoot, like, and
jealous.
I just think,
I was going to say, none of this pressure. None of this pressure.
I genuinely think that's what my life was meant to be. I just
Yeah.
met
Sure,
a
I
very
see that
handsome
for
I could
you.
see
I
that.
could
I could see that.
yeah.
Yeah, I really could.
Yeah, barefoot,
Yeah.
I met a very sensible man who brought me back,
Yeah.
thankfully, or I'd just be out there with a beard, living off leaves somewhere, completely naked. So pregnancy, definitely, if it's affordable for you, definitely get a pregnancy health check.
Yeah.
I also did not know, and this is so ignorant of me, that I do now, obviously, I've known for years, but prior to knowing that you should have a pelvic floor check if you've had a C-section. Because why would you need one? There's no damage down there. Everything's as it is.
Yeah.
And I know there's lots of ladies out there that would think that. So how can we get that like what?
You've had a massive surgery.
Yeah.
You know, you've had massive abdominal surgery, which changes your whole system.
Anatomy.
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
system,
And like we just discussed, it may not be the actual mode of delivery which changes your pelvic floor. But that pelvic floor is going to carry you through perimenopause, menopause and beyond. And, you know, we're all living longer. And what is amazing is we're a bit more of an active generation.
Yeah.
Which is like,
That's one,
you know. And so if you want to still be that active person, if you've had a C-section or a vaginal delivery, or if you've not even had a child, still get your pelvic floor checked, because it is with you for life.
Forever.
Yeah. And, you know, the correlation between living well and pelvic health is huge, because we end up going for... So after you've had a baby, you end up saying to yourself, you know, I can't jump on a trampoline because I'll wet
I'm
myself.
going to avoid these things.
Exactly. Oh, I can't do
normal.
this, that, and the other because I'm going to wet myself. And you know, that's the norm. And then you tend to go through perimenopause and menopause, and then you start to become more urgent. And then you're rushing to the toilet. You're finding this, that, and the other. So therefore, you're cutting back on your fluids. You've also potentially got a little bit of incontinence, or maybe a prolapse from you know, your 40s anyway, and therefore exercise is like a bit of a massive no-no. So you start to go through perimenopause and menopause, you become even more deconditioned, your estrogen starts to deplete, so the ability to maintain or progress muscle mass starts to deplete as well, and we just naturally lose that muscle mass over time. And then we are busy raising children, we're busy then potentially caring for parents,
others,
grandchildren, whatever else, and then we're up in the middle of the night, desperate for that wee, because we've, you know,
left it all day.
But you know, because we're now going through that urgency symptoms and we've ignored it instead of getting help, we're going through those urgency symptoms and we fall. And we break that hip.
Oh my God.
And, you know, because we potentially haven't taken HRT, which is another huge discussion, we haven't potentially taken HRT, our muscle mass, our bone density, our heart health, our brain health is all affected. And then we end up in that orthopedic bed at 70, 80 years old.
And 1/3 will pass away within that first year.
And your
Christ.
overall quality of life
is shit.
And that could have all been helped if only we'd, you know, taken care of our pelvic floor health.
Do you feel quite? I feel quite emotional. Do you feel quite emotional?
That's my passion area. Women live longer, you know, but we live not healthy years for longer.
Yes.
We live unwell.
We suffer longer.
Because we put ourselves down here.
We do put ourselves down there, but also because those hormones that we lose through that perimenopause, menopause is massive on those those years afterwards. And because our life expectancy is longer now, we're living longer, we're spending more time in those years, those post-menopause years now. We want them to be good years.
Yeah.
You know, like we don't want them to be, you know, in a bed or confined to a house or being frail or not being able to do the things that you enjoy because you wet yourself, so you don't want to leave the house, or you have heaviness and dragging, you've got prolapse symptoms, and so you don't want to do the things that you enjoy. You know,
and this
you don't interact.
We are both really passionate about exercise.
It pours out of you girls.
It's not just thinking vagina, it's also thinking
It's whole body system. It's whole body.
And being active and moving your body is one of the things that, as we were driving up here, we were discussing, is part of pelvic health.
Yeah,
you know,
massive
because you want to live well, and you don't want to be that person that can't lift, you know, it's not always about grandkids, but you can't lift your grandkids up and throw them in the air and chase after them, and, you know, or even just think to yourself, for my own mental health, I'm going to go out for a run, or I'm going to start bouldering,
or live independently,
even live independently,
later on,
exercise,
pick up your own shopping,
exactly,
like, you know, all of that type of stuff.
I think there's a lady on Instagram, sort of, she's training for an old lady body.
Yeah,
and I think that's great. You
I
know,
love
it's not.
that.
It's
that's
not
me now.
Exactly.
It is. It's so. You know,
I want to be that
training for those-
90-year-old that I see that's chasing after people, that is traveling the world, that has potentially grown old gracefully. I don't know. I'll probably still be in my mini skirts and stuff like that.
Well,
exactly. It's a privilege,
You know?
and I just want to be well.
Yeah.
You know, I've got dementia in. You know, my grandma had dementia. You know, there's certain health things that are in my genes that I want to almost fight off.
Yeah.
And the research which is coming out now about hormonal health is
massive.
huge.
It's wild.
Whereas beforehand it was don't take it, you know. And
I feel really sorry for that generation.
That was me
who
until
have lived
3 months ago when I seen Dr. Olver. I was massively against HRT. And I've tried with the GP for so long because I was having all these symptoms. Turns out I've probably been perimenopause for 10 years. And early menopause, actually, which was put down to unexplained infertility. And then I was like, I'm a hippie, aren't I? I'm not going to take anything. Of course I'm not. And then I'm like, fuck it, I want it all. Nothing worked for me. And then I paid to go and see a private consultant referred by you. It was an absolute genius. And I'm like,
but it's not just about symptoms, is it?
No.
It's about what happens. Longevity, absolutely. And those years afterwards, and what it can do to help you live well afterwards.
And I don't think the statistics in terms of...
They're not true.
No, I don't think the statistics are out there for women to be aware of how your perimenopause and menopause is actually not just affecting your night sweats. It's not just affecting, you know, the brain fog. It's about how it is affecting your heart. How it's going to actually affect your brain, and, you know, the research between
your bones,
perimenopause, menopause, and Alzheimer's.
I know, it's
huge.
You
know, I'm so glad that there's way more evidence now coming through.
There is.
To have the discussion.
But unfortunately, there is still that, you know, that previous paper and that research that came out.
The horrors.
The horrors, the links between taking HRT and cancer, which put that whole generation off, which I think is a real
And then they end up with bone pain and high risk of arthritis and whatever else, and then they become even more, you know, unfit and inactive, and you know,
that's going back to the service. That's all, and I talk about this on every single podcast I've done. That's adding a stress to a service that could be so easily and cheaply rectified earlier on.
It's being proactive rather than reactive. And that was my frustration within that service, is that everything was looking at being sort of reactive.
We'll react to something, just in case.
Because we're focusing on the wait list of this. But what if you manage early on
a very, very could be, you know, a cheap service that has longevity benefits to it will just be huge.
But I'm going to be a bit controversial.
Go for it.
Because the systems are failing, right? But I don't necessarily think that it's the average Joe that's failing. I think it is our government.
Oh,
Of course
absolutely.
it
Like,
is.
you know,
It absolutely
and
is.
if we
Yeah,
could
it
just
is.
boot out the government,
I know.
I mean, all of them,
Yeah.
like, you know, and potentially go green, and
Or fucking nothing.
you know, or actually have you know,
people
a little
making
bit more
decisions that-
of our population, our average show population,
In it.
in it.
Yeah.
Represented.
Because our
Yeah.
average show
No.
population is represented
No.
at all, you know, in health policies and in the higher policies, the policymakers, you know,
Yeah.
recent things that I've seen that's happening in the world, I think these politicians have absolutely no clue.
So disconnected.
Yeah, and all they're worried about is money. And actually, if we took that away from them,
Yeah.
would they care more about how the world is running?
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like a hippie, but I just,
Why
I
not?
think, you know, I think
We're all going to
deep
start our
inside,
commune soon, aren't we?
yeah,
A natural naturist
Yeah,
commune.
exactly.
But the problem is, we all know that that is what's needed. We
Yeah.
need one big. My husband said this: if COVID come back, because he's not a conspiracy theorist, he started to become one, and that now he's just interested
yeah.
with an underline.
Yeah.
But whatever, you do you. But he said if they tried to say, like, to put us in another lockdown, Joe Public needs to become the village and absolutely
Yeah.
Yes.
fucking refuse.
Yeah.
Because it is going to take 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years to recover from COVID
Yes.
mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these
Yeah,
young
yeah,
kids who
yeah.
weren't in school,
Yeah.
all of that. And he is right. He was like, why
Yeah.
did we say yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Whilst
did
they
we-
were all having their little parties.
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What? Like, why? Why
Don't.
did we? Why did we say yes? Because exactly.
I had my birth during that time. So.
Because we had a
Yeah, see.
and that's it. That what went on during that
Mhm,
time
mhm.
with you know, women giving birth
Mhm,
and
mhm.
the
Birth
lack
trauma,
birth
physical
trauma,
trauma.
the
not-
lack
even
of
not-
support,
lack
the
of
lack
support.
of services.
Yeah, or partner support. Not
Mhm,
having, I don't know,
mhm.
you know, lots of partners weren't able to be there, and
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
that situation when it's a really vulnerable time for a
Yeah,
woman, isn't
exactly.
It's horrendous.
it? And
Yeah.
not to
Even
have
with
that
support.
even with support,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It is.
So I just think actually we should all, as a population, rise up and take control
Yeah.
of
Go
our
against
services.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they are ours.
Yeah.
They
And you know, they
yeah.
harp on that they're free. I mean, I say it as well, but they're not, because we've
No,
been
we
paying
do
for it
pay
all
for it.
our life.
Like, do you know what's amazing is that at my local library they're offering period pants and things like that for free, and I'm like, amazing,
I love
but it's
it.
not being advertised.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
know about it,
Yeah.
and if you don't access that, the government are going to go,
They'll
"Ooh,
take it away.
Oh, it's not needed.
it's not needed,
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's
take it
being
away."
utilised.
Oh my goodness, if you promoted it a little bit more or advertised
Yeah.
about it,
That's why they
more
don't
people-
advertise it,
exactly.
though. See,
Yeah.
that,
So they
this is
want
where
to
my husband's
look
in my
as
year.
though-
Yeah.
they want to look as though they're helping you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they'll
So they
take-
want to offer it,
Yeah,
but then
exactly.
Indian giving, they'll
Yeah,
take it away. Yeah.
So
bonkers.
so I'm all pro, you know, community and building that kind
Yeah.
of support.
Yeah, that.
But I'm a private physio.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so hard.
It
because You're
is.
constantly
Yeah,
pulling
because
yourself
actually
into that.
that-
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Know
Yeah,
your
yeah.
worth. You've got to make a living.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 3 years, and I'm
Yeah.
still battling.
Yeah.
But it gets easier.
But we've all been in the system, and we
Of
got
course.
disheartened
Yes.
by the
Exactly,
system.
that's why we
and,
left.
and we had the
Yeah.
frustrations of the systems, and that's why we did leave.
Yeah.
You know.
And you get to a point, like I gave it 15 years,
Yeah.
where you're like, I can't do good in here anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, I still want to do good, or
Yeah.
am I going to quit?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you both felt the same.
Yeah. At times.
Is there a way that I can do good and do better? And take, do you know what? They're like, oh yeah, private practitioner. I was on about fucking 70 pence a month at some time.
Yeah.
Because you give up that stability of
Yeah.
that
Yes.
financial
Yeah,
income
yeah,
and
yeah.
the stability of knowing your hours of work
Yeah.
to provide a better service.
Yeah.
And it just takes time to build.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're digressing again.
I know.
Right, I want to talk about sex.
Yes.
So, sex in pregnancy, pelvic floor, sex postnatally, because it's a taboo subject. It should be spoken about more. And I know I have dads asking me silently.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm like,
do you know, doing this job, I've realised that there is no norm. in terms of how frequently people have sex, you know, positions.
Yes.
Do women enjoy it? Are they aware of the sensation? Do they orgasm from penetration, or are they just doing it? You know, masturbation, how much of a taboo that is.
It's such a good tool.
You know, yes.
But
You
when
can
we
go
say
from feeling in a bad mood to an elated mood in 30 seconds, girls. Why aren't you doing it?
when we talk about sex, we're talking about penetrative male on female sex, generally,
exactly.
penis in vagina, and that's not necessarily what it has to be.
not.
No.
And so it's
so
appreciating that in itself, isn't it?
Exactly. You know, just saying that, it's like it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't
that
have to
function.
be. No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
and it doesn't always have to be male and female either.
No, it could
And
be
do you know what?
anything.
My partner actually prefers me enjoying myself, and that's what helps. And he enjoys that.
That's his love language.
Yeah, that's his love
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
He would rather me enjoy myself.
100%, because you're 50% of the person that's doing
that's
the
doing
action.
it.
So why shouldn't you enjoy it?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I always say, you know, are you lying there thinking about having a cup of tea and dunking a biscuit, or are you lying there enjoying the moment?
Yeah.
And I would probably say majority are thinking about a
Cup of tea.
cup of tea and a biscuit, you know, or sleep, you know. So I wouldn't say there is any rights or wrongs or anything like that, but I would probably advocate for knowing yourself, knowing what you do like, knowing what you don't like, and if it's painful, seek help, because that's not right. You know, if you're unable to orgasm,
that's not right.
Seek help. You know, and if you are not comfortable with certain things, say no. And I said this to one lady once, that if it is painful, you are well within your rights to say no. And tears fell down her
Even
face.
if you're in a married, you know, even if you're married,
you know, because actually
any situation.
And you know, again, it's that advocating for yourself, trusting your body, and knowing what you do and don't like, and being able to speak up.
It's not normal, is it? And
no,
so
it's
that's
not normal.
when,
So it's another taboo subject.
That's the other thing.
Exactly.
See, it's
We
not
taboo
normal
subject.
for sex to be painful post
No.
birth. It really
But anytime.
isn't.
At any time.
And anytime.
Yeah. But women do think, oh, it's meant to hurt, because like, the baby's just come out of it. Or that baby came out of it a year ago.
After the initial recovery period,
course.
but then after that, then no, it shouldn't be painful.
There's no actual, I'm sure you both know, but there's no actual time limit. So when women ask me, in the NHS, what's the time limit on, like, when can we have sex? We used to say, you know, 6 weeks. But there isn't actually a time limit.
Well, I would say infection-wise, just making sure that
healing,
you know, healing, you're all healed. But it's individual to everybody.
When you both feel ready.
It is, and for some women, that's a hand on heart. That's 2 days.
That's straight away because of the hormones.
And that rush and that.
And it's like,
some women it's 2 to 3 years.
Of course,
you know?
because of trauma, or actually.
Just hormones and
hormones,
life,
and I
and
don't want to. I'm touched out.
Exactly. So it's all very normal within a spectrum. But one of the biggest questions I would also say is, how do you feel about it? To a lot of women. So how do you feel about it? And asking that open-ended question, it does open a floodgate. And so as pelvic floor physios, we don't work alone. We do work alongside midwives, but we also work alongside like psychologists and things like that.
Psychosexual consultants.
Psychosexual therapists. But the amount that we refer on is huge.
I can imagine.
Because for some women, it doesn't bother them.
But I think it's having that open communication then with their partner in that situation
I
about how they're feeling.
Like, it's bonk. So I've gone down the road of, I train 5 times a week now, so strength conditioning, because I want to live longer. I don't like it. I don't like the way my body works. I love doing it. I'm addicted to it. It feels wrong not to go. I absolutely hate my body and how it looks, because skinny fat. Brought up in a generation of skinny fat.
So sad.
And then you have a baby, and partners I'm generalising, you just do by default, don't
Yeah.
you? Majority of partners don't realise that they might still love this woman who's just
Yes.
given birth to their child.
Yeah.
They don't bother, they're not bothered
Yeah,
about this
absolutely.
new body. But for her,
Yeah.
mentally,
It's huge.
Yeah,
she's not
huge.
attractive anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Yeah,
you
I mean,
push them away.
we've been there.
And me.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Exactly. You'd
Yeah.
rather turn your back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Just
than
roll
actually
over.
see
Yeah.
your boobs and your belly
Yeah,
and
move
stuff,
in
you know.
and things.
Yeah, it's huge, but also our brains have changed.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
we're no longer putting ourselves or our partners first. Our actual physiology of our brain has changed. So we're now putting this little human first. And sometimes
Prioritising.
sex can be on the
on
back
the back
burner.
burner. Makes you angry when they want it.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
Sometimes
been there when
being
Yeah,
awake
yeah.
at night
Yeah.
whilst you're hearing your partner snore,
I hate
that
you.
can
Fuck
infuriate you. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to have sex with you
I
because
don't
you just
need
had
you.
6 hours sleep.
I can do this shit on my own.
Exactly. But then on a serious note, there can be some quite, you know, hormonal, anatomy-wise, you know, as a person, as a holistic
Yes.
person, there can be loads of different elements. And I think, again, having that open-ended conversation, how do you feel about it? Some women
Yeah.
aren't bothered.
I love
and
that
it's
question.
down
Yeah.
on that,
Yeah.
that, you know, list
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And some women are bothered and it is affecting their relationship and stuff like that, you know.
Sex is massive.
It's
It is.
huge.
And
Yeah.
we don't talk about it enough.
It's another
It's
taboo,
taboo.
isn't it?
It's taboo.
It is taboo.
Yeah, it's shameful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's how we make babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
how
also,
we
also how we connect as
yeah,
well.
exactly.
Yeah,
and also
of course.
discussing, you know, is it vaginal penetration or is it
Yes.
anal
Yeah.
penetration?
Because there's
you know?
other things you can do.
Exactly, and but also there's different ways of which your pelvic floor needs to be able to
Yeah.
respond as well. So, you know, having a quite in-depth conversation about sex, you know, as women, I think we are quite chatty.
Oh, actually,
Yeah.
we don't shut up.
Yeah.
It's better, do you
And
know what, though?
opening.
It's rarer than you think, but because of our jobs, it's easy for us to
Yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it. But if I
But
was
then
talking...
you went to a doctor or a specialist,
Yeah.
you wouldn't discuss it, would you?
Oh, no, my vagina
know.
shrunk right back up. So there's no
Exactly.
oxytocin in that
Exactly.
room. It's awful.
But then could you imagine then trying to talk to your partner
I
about
know.
it?
It's
Yeah.
awful, and unless you speak, I mean, I'm not. I'm a hippie.
Yeah.
I'm an open book, but I find it difficult,
Yeah.
believe it or not,
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about it.
I mean,
Better now,
I
but
preach it all day long. We should be celebrating our change of bodies, but you know,
Yes.
oh my goodness,
Take it into
Still
it.
don't
Own
touch my
situation.
belly,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
practice what you preach, you know.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Do
we're
as I say,
all-
not as I
yeah.
do.
it is.
We're
It's
all
interesting
individuals.
what you said about when women, you know, your partners aren't your priority. You're not a priority
Yeah.
anymore. I tell dads all the time, first-time parents, when and I say to the mum, you're going to be his number one forever and a day. And I say to dad, when she gives birth, you will go down the pecking order. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that she doesn't love you or
Yeah.
feel any less about you.
Yeah.
As women, our brains prioritise
Absolutely.
needs.
Yeah,
Same as a
yeah,
mum, a
yeah.
mother's love goes
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
needed. And some
Yeah.
days it might be one child
Yeah.
and the other day it might be another. But men, you know, I harp on about the chimp paradox, the book.
Mhm.
Their brains don't function that way.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even having conversations like that with new parents, because they're not expecting anything to change, is mind blowing. It's bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, my sister is incredible. She's
a
also a midwife.
Yeah.
And she's had 6 children.
Oh, wow,
and she's
I'm so
raised them all
jealous.
by herself. Okay, she's a single mum of 6 children.
Wow.
And when I tell you
I'll
how
have to have
successful,
her on my podcast.
oh, she wouldn't shut up. How successful all of those children are is mind
Phenomenal,
blowing.
yeah.
Yeah. She's done an absolutely amazing job, and she also helps other children. But when we have to, what was the subject?
We've talked about parenting and how you prioritise.
Yeah. So she literally prioritised her children like tenfold. And there was something else. What did you just say before that?
I love this.
See,
It's our age.
like-
This is our age. We were talking about this, weren't we? For
Yeah.
Grateful.
We were talking
Remember?
about, I talked about the chin paradox. I talked about how we're not the same.
Yeah.
Men have different brains.
Yeah.
And where a mother's love goes where it's needed, and it could be one child
No,
one
this
day,
is it.
and another child
the
the next.
reason why you can
Well done.
spout.
You did it.
I'm on HRT now.
Hang on. Don't let it go. Don't let it go.
We can spout out all of this, like, before having children, you can spout out all of this information to, humans, mums and dads, about how their life will change after having kids. But my sister, single mum of 6, I would still go round there. This is before I had kids. I would still go round there and expect her to make me a cup of tea. I would still expect her to, like, feed me, because I'm a student, feed me, cook for me, and we'd sit down to watch a movie, and she'd fall asleep within 10 minutes, and it was literally the running joke, and like, she is incredible, but she would wake up in the morning, no milk, have to go to Sainsbury's, drive there in her slippers, realise that she's got like two high heels, odd high heels, and she's in like pajamas. So is it slippers or high heels?
She's
around
a bit of me.
But it was all a bit of a running joke. And now I've had my 2, and I'm like,
how did she do it?
How dare I have gone round there and expected her to make me a cup of tea, and how her to make me food, and not to fall asleep, and to not be so scatty, and
not
don't
be the
have
priority
shoes on
because I'm a guest.
Exactly, because like I just don't think, unless you've gone through it, you don't realise.
You can't prepare.
No,
you can't prepare. My birth story that's going up today. The minute you birth your baby, you can't prepare, even the placenta. You don't expect the placenta to birth the way it births. No. You think you're going to birth your baby and feel elated because social media depicts that you're going to love this kid like no other. They don't even, it's not even out there that actually the 3rd stage is fucking shit. It's a faff, and you just touched out, and you might not want to hold your child. And you could say that, but because social media is all about bonding straight away, they don't actually believe it. Even though I'm like, you might not want that golden hour.
Exactly.
You might want to get in the shower, and that might be the last shower that you have by yourself for a little while.
Without hearing the screams. Are they real?
I know. So take that golden hour. Can we just quickly talk about the mummy MOT?
Yes.
Because I rave about it now, because I should have had one before she was 18.
So the Mummy MOT is a brand as well. So like, shout out to the brand, because it's amazing, because they've promoted the fact that everybody should have a check. But the word potentially might mean that you just have a one-stop shop assessment. And actually it's 9 times out of 10 not a one-stop shop. You get signed off, and then off you go. You're fine for the rest of forever.
That's what it does come across.
That's how it does come across. But I would highly recommend that at 6 to 8 weeks, you are checked out by a pelvic floor specialist, because again, yes, we're meant to have this check with the GP, but it doesn't happen, And also, I would probably say, yes, the ideal is 6 to 8 weeks, but any time during postpartum, because your body and your state of mind, am I ready to take on all this assessment and this information?
And I think that's an important point, because if people go beyond that time and they're a year down the line, well, I've missed my opportunity now, there's no point going for it.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. I think you need to have that sort of awareness that actually that access is there. It's still important.
Definitely.
Yes.
And
it may not be at 6 to 8 weeks, but ideally,
just to give you that best start or that information at the start.
And I always sound a bit like a Grim Reaper. I always want to but because the changes that your body has gone through will be held with you forever. But there is so much that can be done about those changes.
We can't expect to be our pre-pregnancy body and our pre-birth body,
and I think you mourn that.
Oh,
you
God,
do.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's discussed.
It's not, and that exactly, and I think that's it. And that's where education comes in, doesn't it? In that prenatal phase of that understanding, and so you're not so shocked by it.
I've had only one in my 18 years of midwifery, one lady say to me, I love my new body. I was like, oh my God.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Good on you. And
Yeah,
how did
yeah.
you get to that
Yes.
point? Please,
Yeah.
I want to sell that.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
it myself,
Yeah.
actually.
Can we bottle that
Can we
up?
bottle
Can we
it?
all have it?
And can it be
Yeah.
part of the mummy MOT?
Yeah.
Here's a bottle of potion, which will allow you to love your body and all
Exactly.
its bumps.
But did we love our bodies before we
I
had
hated
kids?
No.
mine.
No.
Yeah,
I reckon
exactly.
I come out
And then
hating
you
my
look
body.
back now till your
Oh my
earlier
goodness.
years. Like, why did I not love my body?
I would be in that
Look at me
bikini
there.
every
Look how
single day.
fresh I look and
Ridiculous.
young.
Turn up to
and-
work, bikini, hi.
Yeah.
How can I help you? Supermarket,
I
bikini,
look at my
hi.
daughters and I'm like, oh God, you have no what. Larry's going on
Yeah.
holiday next week for like her first. It's not just girls, so her first team holiday.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at her and I'm like, you're going to look amazing.
Yeah.
But I know you're not going to feel that way. And it's really sad.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
It is.
Yeah.
And even though like you input all the confidence you can
Yeah.
into them, and we're just so cruel to
It is,
ourselves.
yeah, but we can't, even
We
though
can't be perfect, can we?
Pardon?
We can't be perfect. Like
No.
human
No,
No,
beings,
absolutely. But
you
I
know.
think the pressure from externally, social
Yeah.
media and all of that, I think,
Yeah. It's just too much.
It's too much. It's a lot. Yeah.
My 3 questions. Can I just ask you quickly, were you dreading them more than the podcast?
Yes.
And see, this is why I
I've been
don't give
thinking
you
about
a
it
full
all
yeah,
last
script.
night. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like,
Well, no, yeah.
Can you understand why I don't give you
Yeah,
a full script
true.
and why
Yeah.
I don't do
Yeah, yeah,
scripted?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would just be sat, it would be very robotic.
Yeah.
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would. So the first question, what's a defining moment in your life? Who wants to go first?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I don't mind going first.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to go first.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's not a one moment in time. It's a period of my life, I think, which is potentially ongoing. So in my earlier years, I found myself in a abusive relationship.
I'm already crying because I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So it was both physically and emotionally abusive. I didn't realise at the time to the extent that it was. And so I found the strength to get out through my family. I feel myself one of the lucky ones,
Yeah.
essentially, because I got out. And I'm now able to live, a happy life. I have a happy life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can't go through that experience without it changing you,
Of course.
without it impacting you. Not all for the bad, because I'm aware of those
Yes.
behaviours now.
Triggers.
But even just the behaviours you see in people, and
Mhm.
what maybe I had some self-esteem issues at the time, which maybe allowed me to get into that situation. But I was an intelligent person.
Yeah.
I found I was quite outgoing and all that, and still I found myself in that situation. And so it is possible for anybody to be exposed to that and to have that experience.
And you never know what people are actually going through.
Oh my God.
Absolutely
Yeah,
not.
no.
You just don't.
Yeah,
That's
no.
why you
Yeah.
both love your jobs, because
Yeah.
And I think it's
same.
absolutely, I think
Yeah.
it has helped me in a way to become a different physio and a different healthcare provider that maybe I would have been, because I've had that lived experience.
Yeah, you're more empathetic.
I'm more empathetic. But I also often, when we come into contact with women and people, we might we get prickly, like I have just now.
Yeah.
We get the prickles of something's not quite right.
Yeah.
And I feel comfortable and confident to
Broach the subject.
broach the subject.
Wow.
And I've on a few occasions I have been part of a support system that have helped women out of those situations because of my
Amazing, right?
experience. Because of that, so and so I think that's a positive that has come out of it.
I know, I've
Yeah.
got goosebumps.
Yeah, it has a positive I've come out of it.
Yeah.
I remember one lady specifically, and
You'll remember her forever.
I will remember her forever. Yeah, absolutely. Because of being confident, able to see those signs and understand and build that rapport, she could open up to me, and we got her out of that situation. She'd been in it for 50 years, and so yes, it's been traumatic, but also it has made me who I am and made me stronger.
Did you ever think you'd be sat here talking openly about it?
No, No.
So special.
And like, can you see her power?
I know.
She's
Honestly,
got so much strength.
I didn't know how, because I'll say I messaged you yesterday and you told me, did it have to be pelvic health related? Everyone asks that, and I said no. And I didn't know how you were going to come across, but you do not come across as vulnerable or
don't get me
victim
wrong.
affected. Of course, you went through all
there
of
were
that.
some dark times, and but the support of my family and the support I've lent on people, and I, as I said, I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
There's lots
your
of
inner
people.
strength literally is beaming.
Yeah, shining.
Yeah.
It really is. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing, and I want you back on to talk about that. What about you?
I was quite a selfish 20-year-old. I mean, what 20-year-olds aren't selfish? But I always thought I didn't want to be a mum. And I went travelling, as you do, in whatever, privileged, just whatever, but worked to save my money. And I went to an orphanage. Who knows if it's a real orphanage now or not now, and what I know.
Yeah.
But, I thought I was doing good at the time. And it was a children's orphanage, as they all are. And but there was a little boy, Russie, and he was tied down to a cot. And he was covered in blood coming out of his ears and stuff like that, and screaming. And I instantly walked in, untied him, grabbed hold of him.
Yeah.
And I asked, why? And they said, because he was banging his head against a wall. And they tied him down to stop him from doing it. So I was like, okay, that's fine. But I just, as part of my training, I ended up working in a hospice. So I'd seen really good care and really good end-of-life care, and they told me that he had a brain tumour, he was deaf and things like that. And this little boy, he was so skinny, he was skin and bones, and basically we were there to do physio. And I just looked around and I thought, some of these kids, they don't need physio. They just need someone to love them. And we made him a little swing. We cuddled him and stuff like that. And he passed away whilst we were there in the little hammock that, I don't know, I was crying. So he passed away whilst we were there. And I just thought, what? That's such a special thing. And I am capable of loving someone else. Yeah, exactly. And I just thought, actually...
You bitches.
So it changed me to think that I have that in myself to give, because I'm not as selfish. So that was my life-changing
brilliant
thing.
Mother.
Oh, I don't know.
Just to put that out there.
But
an amazing mother.
So that changed me forever. That little boy. And so
and you'll never forget that.
Don't.
What would you go back?
From the giggles.
What would you go back and tell your younger self if you had an opportunity to?
That's hard, right?
That's big. It's so much. Not be in a rush, I think.
I like that.
Not be in a rush, because I think the situation I found myself in was because I was under that societal pressure.
Get married, buy a house, get two kids.
Exactly. And because I was close to that, someone showed that attention, did all the love bombing and all of that, and I thought it was love. And so just understand that actually everyone's,
take your own sweet time.
Exactly. Absolutely.
I love that.
So that would have maybe changed the trajectory, but then
you wouldn't be sat here.
You'd be
exactly. And so sometimes, the universe has other plans for you, doesn't it, as well?
I'm a massive believer in that. What about you?
Gosh, to not be a people pleaser. As much as I was.
Good girl syndrome.
Exactly. And that actually maybe my anxiety would have been much better if I'd just turned around and gone, no, I don't fancy that, thanks.
Have those boundaries.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you getting them? Or do you find
still
are you finding it harder, actually?
I think being a business owner is really hard to find my boundaries.
So we're talking about that,
and not to be a people pleaser.
You're always afraid of that one negative post.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. It's really, really hard.
And not all the positive.
Yeah. But so yeah, I'm still on my journey with that. But I would probably tell myself that actually everything will work out all right, and not to be so anxious.
Yeah. Anxiety is debilitating, and
Yeah.
I think you would never in a million years think that I was anxious.
Yeah.
And we hide it so well.
Yeah.
So we're just swans.
Functioning anxiety.
And flapping like fuck under the water. What's one book, one podcast, quote, or film, actually, that you think everybody should watch, listen to, hear?
Oh, I don't know if everyone would want, like, has to, but it was something that sort of changed my life. So it's the book Attached.
It's called Attached?
Called Attached.
Okay.
Someone Levine. And it's sort of on relationships, and it doesn't have to be romantic relationships, it's friendships, any sort of relationships, and it's just understanding how different behaviours are in different relationships, and what characters and how you behave in different relationships. And I think that can just, I did a lot of soul searching and to understand why I ended up in that situation, and it really helped me. So if you find yourself, confused in certain relationships, it was really helpful.
I think there's a huge call for understanding human behaviour better. I'm obsessed with human behaviour. And we literally don't, like, even talking about love languages that we were talking about. What's your love language? And even in a friendship, exactly, you come across quite needy and quite obsessive when actually you're just not getting served. In a relationship, you have to be served. Both parties do. I'm going to read that.
And I think my favourite quote is, "You can't go wrong getting strong."
I love
putting that out there.
I still hate my body, but I totally believe it.
I love that. That old lady body we're building for.
I love that. That's so cool. What about you?
I've never read a book in my life.
I mean, how many people don't
skimmed through things.
Spit you out.
But never read a book. So my favourite film would be, and my whole family quote from this film.
I love that.
Is The Colour Purple. Yeah. Yes. Because it just really shows you, like, my ancestral history. And but it's also current to today in terms of oppression and stuff like that. But in terms of being able to have a female in your life that doesn't judge you, doesn't isn't competing against you, and helps to lift you up, to see how beautiful of a person you are, or how amazing you are as a person. That is, I will sob at that, and I'll also get those moments, my most favourite film ever is The Colour Purple.
We need to have a girls' movie night.
I was going to say, I love it when people come on and say things like that, because I actually want to run home and watch it.
It's such a good film.
Thank you so much for coming on. Was it as bad as you thought?
No. I
mean, I still had sweaty palms.
I still have the nervous twitch at some point. But
you were fab.
No, honestly. I think you made it.
Thanks for having us.
Made it more comfortable.
It was brilliant.
It was really nice to be able to speak about it as well.
Yeah.
You've been the longest one I've had, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, that's how comfortable you were.
Chatting. Sweaty palms, literally.
Just chatting.
It was
brilliant. At the beginning of it, we literally just